Choosing between the Tab S8 and the Tab S8 Plus can be tough. There is a lot of overlapping features, but there's also some important upgrades. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is the Tab S8 Plus worth the extra money? In the US, we're looking at $700 for the Tab S8, $900 for the Tab S8 Plus. It's a fairly significant increase in cost, so let's see what you get for the money, and thank you to Best Buy for sponsoring this video. Now, probably the first thing you'll notice is that the Tab S8 Plus display is larger. As you would expect from Samsung, both displays are excellent, but they're not the same. So let's talk about the specs and then talk about how the differences impact real-life use. The Tab S8 has an 11-inch TFT display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600, 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate, and 264 pixels per inch. The Tab S8 Plus has a larger 12.4-inch Super AMOLED display with a higher resolution of 2800 by 1752. It's a 120 Hz display, and it has a slightly lower pixel density of 266 pixels per inch. In terms of size, there is no question that you get a noticeably larger image on the Tab S8 Plus. Both have an aspect ratio of 16 by 10, and it makes them great for watching content because we're getting pretty small black bars on the top and the bottom. The high resolution of the Tab S8 Plus also means that when you're surfing the web, when you're using different apps, or even just navigating around the settings, you're able to see more content without having to scroll. It's also definitely an advantage when it comes to multitasking, which I'll cover in a minute. Now, the actual displays themselves are also different. So with the Tab S8 Plus, we're getting a higher quality Super AMOLED display with richer colors. We're also getting an additional level of control over white balance, which can help white continue to appear as white rather than yellow or blue. The Tab S8 has a TFT display. It's still a very nice display. It's just not as nice as the one on the Tab S8 Plus. When we look at the actual design, the two tablets are almost identical. We've got small bezels all the way around, rounded corners, squared off edges, 4 speaker grills, and a USB-C port for charging and accessories. Now, both tablets offer 2 forms of biometric authentication. We've got facial recognition with the front-facing camera, then we have different implementations of a fingerprint sensor. On the Tab S8, it's integrated into the power button, and on the Tab S8 Plus, there's an on-display fingerprint reader. So far, both have worked pretty well for me. I prefer the position of the on-display reader, but I like the reliability of the one on the power button. From an ergonomic standpoint, the size difference is definitely noticeable. The Tab S8 is about 1.25 inches or 3.1 centimeters longer, and it's about 0.8 inches or 2 centimeters wider. Now, because I always have my tablet in a case and in a backpack, this additional size doesn't really make a difference to me from a portability standpoint, but if I'm playing a game where I'm holding the tablet up without supporting it, then I prefer the smaller Tab S8. Now, if you're looking for something even bigger than these two, then you should check out today's sponsor, Best Buy, who's offering a $100 gift card with the purchase of the larger Tab S8 Ultra. You're getting the same design as the Tab S8 Plus, but with an amazing 14.6-inch Super AMOLED display. This is an unbelievable tablet to watch content on. The image is bright, it's big, and it's going to feel like you're holding some sort of futuristic device. Now, if you use your tablet for work, you'll love how much content you can fit on this display at once. The Tab S8 Ultra also includes an S Pen with extremely low latency, and you can use it to take notes, to draw, or even as a wireless remote for things like media playback and camera control. And speaking of the camera, the Tab S8 Ultra has a dual front-facing camera system with a feature called auto framing. I love using it for video calls when I'm walking around because it makes it look like the camera is following me. So if you're looking to step up your productivity game, if you want an amazing tablet to watch content on, or an unbelievable mobile gaming experience, check out the Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra at Best Buy, and thank you to Best Buy for sponsoring this video. Now back to the Tab S8 and the Tab S8 Plus. When we look at processing power, both feature the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip. It's been extremely capable so far. I've used these tablets for basic things like surfing the web and watching video, social media, and then for more demanding things like multitasking, photo editing, and gaming. Now, both tablets are available at 128 and 256 gigabytes of internal storage, and all models come with 8 gigs of RAM. So the nice thing is that you only need to choose the size of the internal storage, and you're gonna get the same amount of RAM no matter what. Now, if you need even more storage, you can always use the micro SD card slot and then expand the internal storage by up to 1 terabyte, which should give you plenty of space. You can use this additional storage for files, and you can also move a lot of apps from the internal storage to the micro SD card. Now, it won't work with every app, but I've been able to move some large apps and games without having any issues and without any noticeable difference in performance. Now, one area where I did notice a meaningful difference between the two is with keyboard cases. So I'm always gonna add a case to my tablet because otherwise I know I'm gonna break it. And most of the time I look for a keyboard case because it helps me type so much faster. Now, there are two book cover options from Samsung, the original and then a slim. So it's really gonna come down to what you want and which one is gonna work better for your situation. The slim is a single piece that wraps around your tablet, and it has a slot where you can store the S Pen when you're transporting it. It takes up less space on your desk when it's set up, but it also doesn't have a touchpad, and the S Pen is not protected if you keep it on the back where it can charge. The regular book cover keyboard consists of two parts, the keyboard itself and then the back. It has a touchpad, which I really like. The S Pen is protected by a flap on the back, and I like that I can separate the back from the keyboard so I can use either of these tablets in actual tablet mode while still protecting the back and the S Pen. In both cases, no pun intended, I'm going to give the edge to the Tab S8 Plus because the keyboard cases are larger and they're more comfortable to type on. Now, if you're like I was in the beginning, you may be thinking, like, do I really need an S Pen? Well, the good thing is that it comes included with both, so you don't need to spend any additional money, and you can see whether there's a place for it in your workflow. I now use a stylus every day, and I love the fact that Samsung includes one with both of these. I really like the writing and drawing experience with it, and both of these get a Bluetooth-enabled S Pen, so you can use gestures for media playback, camera control, and for a few other useful tasks. Now, if you're looking to be even more productive with either of these, there are some amazing multitasking capabilities. You can have two apps open side by side, you can even add a third app, and even with a ton of browser tabs open at the same time, like, the new processor just crushes it. If you'd rather work with a desktop-like interface, you can boot both of these in DeX mode, which will give you an actual desktop with icons, a taskbar, and resizable floating windows. You can either use it with the keyboard cases that I showed you, or you can even hook up an external keyboard, mouse, and monitor to get a very powerful dual display laptop or desktop replacement. If you already have a compatible laptop or desktop, you can actually go the other way and then use either of these as an additional display. Samsung calls this feature second screen, and I use it all the time when I want a dual display on the go, and that probably doesn't surprise you if you've seen my main workstation. So when it comes to multitasking, DeX, or second screen, I'm gonna give the edge to the Tab S8 Plus because the larger and higher resolution display makes it easier to do more. Now, before we get to battery life and gaming, let's quickly cover the camera and speakers. The camera systems are identical. We're getting rear-facing 13 megapixel wide, a 6 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 12 megapixel front-facing ultra wide camera. Both tablets come with a feature called auto framing, which detects a subject and then zooms in and out to keep it properly framed as it moves around. If you're someone who makes video calls where you're not always sitting right in front of your tablet, this is a feature that you're gonna love. As far as the speakers, both tablets have 4 AKG-tuned speakers with Dolby Atmos support, and these speakers are great. Now, I might give the very slight edge to the Tab S8 Plus in terms of the level of distortion at full volume, but there's really no way that I'd be able to tell which is which if I could only hear one. Now, if you're a user that plans on using these speakers to watch content, to listen to music, or to game on, you will absolutely love both of these. As far as battery life, we're getting an 8,000 milliamp hour battery on the Tab S8 versus a 10,090 milliamp hour on the Tab S8 Plus. Now, both are easily lasting me for a full typical day of use, and I'll have an update for you in my longer term reviews. Now, the one thing that always puts a dent in my battery life is gaming. As far as which one of these I liked better, it really came down to what game I was playing. So if I play PUBG, I hold the tablet in the air, so for me, the Tab S8 is more comfortable to hold for longer sessions. Now, one of my friends always plays with the tablet resting on the pillow, so for her, the larger display on the Tab S8 Plus would be a better option. And by the way, playing PUBG on both of these tablets, you can go to HDR for graphics with frame rate set to extreme, or you can set graphics to Ultra HD and then frame rate to Ultra. Now, I usually have it set up to either smooth or balance and then to extreme, so I can get a fluid gaming experience and better battery life. Both tablets also easily crushed much more resource-hungry games like Genshin Impact, and in both cases, gameplay was smooth and responsive. Now, if you have an Xbox Game Pass account, you can pair your Xbox controller and then play any of the cloud-based games. Both tablets played every game without an issue, and if I had to choose one of them to pair a controller with, that would be the Tab S8 because of the larger display. When we look at configuration, we have the same options, so it really comes down to pricing. So both start with 128 gigabytes of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. The Tab S8 is $699 and the Tab S8 Plus is $899. If you want to move to 256 gigs and 8, then you're looking at $779 versus $979. Now you should see how the Tab S8 compares with the iPad Air 4. Hopefully this comparison was helpful. Click on my face to subscribe. You know what I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.